Hello again. We've just come back from holiday and the wife's car, which we took because it's bigger than mine, had a problem with the window wipers. They started making this atrocious noise, so I'll show you what I mean now. Ignition on, wipers on, and there you go. Turn that off a second. It sounds like that the motor is failing, or some of the gears on the motor. So we're going to lift the bonnet up and we're going to have a quick look. Right, so lift the bonnet up, support that, there you go, that's on. And there you go, you've got a linkage that runs underneath this section here. So we've got to take all this off and we're going to check the linkage first, and then we'll have a look at the motor. First job, you need to remove these little caps on the wiper arms to get at the nut. So prise them off with a little screwdriver, like that. Put them somewhere safe, which is in my pocket in this time. Same with these, or they might just flick off. There you go, that's that one. And the last one. There you go. Screwdriver underneath and get those off. Oh, coming off, that's a tricky one. Oh, and there it goes. Gravity. Okay, we've got that. And then we'll need to remove these nuts, okay? Before you actually take the nuts off, shut the bonnet back down again, and then set it to park. So we'll set that to park. That's it, and turn the ignition off. Then we know where we've got to put the blades back and we refit the arms. And lift the bonnet up again, support that, and now we can remove the arms. So you need a 16mm spanner or socket on these nuts. You can actually mark the position if you wanted to, but I know mine are in park, so I know where I've got to put it back. So let's slacken those off. They should be quite tight. Actually, they are quite tight actually. There you go, that's that one of those. Remove the bolts on all three. Okay, remove those. Again, put them somewhere safe, because you will need them again. Now you have to remove the arms. Now the arms are on this spline shaft, so they will need a bit of a wiggle. And I've just tapped mine as well with a rubber mallet just to break it free. And then you give it a wiggle and then it will come off, okay? And on to the next ones. And there you go, that's the other arm removed. So it's just left with the spindles showing. Next, you remove this seal, pull that off. That's it, and then that's tight. And then you can remove these covers, which should just pull up, I believe. There you go, that's in 3 sections. Pull that one off. That's that one. Middle section, that's that one. Oh, and that section's coming off all together, I think. Get out the way. There you go. Let's remove the covers. Somewhere safe. Now you can see the arms. There's the motor there, and then you've got these arms that move the 3 wipers. Oh, now we need to see what's actually going on here. So we're going to put the ignition back on, put the wipers back on, and see where the noise is coming from. Whether it's these linkages, whether they've gone a bit funny, a bit dry, or it's actually the motor itself. So you can't do it with the bonnet up, because it won't work, because there's a switch down here, so that you have to press that switch in with a big screwdriver. So to try the wipers with the bonnet up, you have to press on the switch down here, force that switch in, so the car thinks the bonnet's shut, so then the wipers will work. So we've done that, we've pressed that right in now, I think. Yep. So now we go back into the car, put the wipers back on, and there you go. And the linkages are fine. The noise is actually coming from the motor, so we need to take it all off. So to remove the motor and linkages, it's a pretty simple job. There's a bolt there, there's a bolt there, and there's a nut that you need to take off there. And then we can take the whole off there. We unplug it as well, obviously, from there. So we'll do that now. It's a 13mm bolt, so into that. You've got to be careful because you're quite against the edge of the windscreen, so with your spanner, don't catch that because you could crack it. So gently undo it. Take that one out. One. And this is again 13mm. There you go, that's that done. And the last one, I think, is that bolt there, which I think is 10mm. Nearly. Come on, last bit. There you go, that's the last one off, and then we can take the whole arm and motor off. Oh, we need to unplug it first, obviously. Plug it. Plugs, and there we go, we can take the whole lot out now. Oh, sorry, there's a captive cable, that's it, get rid of that one. Now we can take it out, and there we go, take it out completely. There we have it. As I say, the linkage is fine, everything else is fine on there. I've checked it all out, I've even lubricated bits and bobs, but that's fine, the linkage is perfect. But it's the motor, it's the gearing in the motor. So anyway, I googled it, and it's a common problem on this model, which is the 246 B200, a 2012 model. This unit to buy second hand is between £200 and £220 off eBay, the whole lot. I don't need the whole lot, I just need the motor. So I don't want to pay 220 quid, so I compared the numbers, the model numbers and the serial numbers, and nothing came up apart from this whole thing we had to buy. So I looked at the picture, and I looked at a picture of an A series the same year, and the pictures looked similar. And there we go. So I went onto eBay. Instead of buying that for 220 quid, I bought that one. I bought this motor on its own for 15 quid delivered. Now, to me, it looks the same. It's virtually identical to look at. Maybe the gearing may be different for the sweep. I don't know. So, what I'm going to do, the model numbers are completely different as well. And this one is a, what's this? This is off a A176. And this one is the A246, which my model is. This is the A series. 2014, I think. Oh, 2015. Mine's 2012. Completely different model numbers, everything, but physically they look the same. So I'm going to try and fit it, and if it doesn't work, I might have to take the gearing out this one and change it for that one, or vice versa, until we get it right. But it's worth a punt rather than 200 quid. So let's see how we get on. I've just got to take it apart, and I can see one of the torque screws holding the motor on is actually covered by this arm. So I've plugged it back in again. I left it loose. I'm going to just turn it a little bit so this arm moves away from that torque screw, so I can actually get at it. Oh, nearly. And there we go. That's all 4 bolts, Torx bolts, screws, whatever. They're out the way, so I can take it apart easily now. There's actually 5 Torx screws actually. So I'm going to take the top one out because you can't get at them all where the linkage is in any position there that at least one's covered. So I'm going to take the top one out, and then we're going to put it back to so we can access the board. Just a bit of gravity there, we've got it fortunately. I'll take the top one out. Move that the way. Let's do it again. A bit more. Oh, almost. There you go. That's all 4 remaining Torx screws now accessible. Pull that off, take that linkage out, and now we've got to split that somehow. Just got to split that little knuckle there, ball joint. Let's just pull straight off. So now this one, see if I can wangle it to come off. I think it's a two-handed job, this one is, I think. Put a screwdriver behind and you just give it a quick push, and I've obviously released it earlier, but that's all you have to do. Just prise it off with a screwdriver. It's just got a snap fitted on it. So there you go, the motor is now disconnected from all the linkages, so we'll see if it's the same. Side by side, although the arm's in a different position obviously to that one, they do look identical, absolutely identical in every way. The mounting holes, the screws, everything. I'll just turn it over, that one, and then that one. They look identical. Everything looks the same. So what is the difference? Is it just the fact that this one, the W2461 comes with the linkages, and that one doesn't? And apart from that, is everything exactly the same? So what I'm gonna do, not even alter the gearing, I'm just going to stick it on. I'm just going to put this new one on the old linkage, and we'll see if it works. And there you go. There's even a locating pin moulded in there, which corresponds to a little hole. If I can find it again, on there. See that? So I've just tried it, and that just drops on. Fits. Exactly. So onwards. So we've got the bracket on, and that fits exactly. All the holes line up. We've obviously got one round the corner there, which we can't get at yet. We can only get 4 at a time. So, but the bracket fits on perfect. So, here we go. Never so well, but I've realised now that the arm from the motor is slightly larger than the one from the old one. If I can just measure that again. This keeps resetting. We have, from edge of spindle to edge of spindle, we have 574, and on the old one, on the new one, we've got only, get it right, on the arm of the new one, the A series one we bought, and 574 on the old one. Whether that will make much difference, I'm going to try it. If worse than worse, we'll have to change the spindle. If you can take the spindle out, the motor, it should come out, and then we'll change that, the arm. But we'll try it first, see what happens. To put the linkages back on, you just, what I've done is put a bit of W40 around it and just pushed them on. You just put a screwdriver in, just a little tap, and it just falls back onto the ball joint. So we'll do the same with that one and give it a little tap, and there you go, that's back on. So we have now reassembled it all. All we need to do now is try it. Okay, that's all back together again now. Everything's back on. So I'm assuming, because of the arm is a bit shorter, it may not give a full sweep. Yeah. But it's worth a try. Okay, it's all back together again. I've left it loose, but I've plugged it in, so I'm gonna try it now. Just leave it there, and I'm gonna just quickly try it. There we go. Wow, that is so quiet, and it's running perfect. So I'm gonna try it now. Let's stick it in, shall we? I must remember though to put that last bolt in. Then I forgot the one there, so we just got to stop at the right point, which is just there. Click. Click. Right, that's all the motor linkages and plugged in, all back together. It's all nice and tight. Now we've got to put the arms on. So the first wiper arm's gone on, and I've set it just below the little line there, so which is the rest position on the first one. Now we do the other one. Now that's the other arm on. Now this one is the spline shaft. This one is not. It's squared off, so it doesn't matter where that goes. That just helps do the oscillation. This is the one. I've set it again to just below the black line there. So I'm just going to tighten it up temporarily just to see what the sweep does now. So that's all bolted together. Let's go and try it. All right, this is the moment of truth then to see if it worked. That's set at on that black line there, out the way of the windscreen. That one's done the same. They're all tightened up. We haven't put the covers on yet because we want to try it first. So let's go and try it. Ignition's on. Give it a blast. Here we go. Fingers crossed. There you go. Look at that. Fast speed. And look at that. So the sweep. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's full coverage. I'll fit it on properly, and we'll do it again when all the covers are on. But quiet as a mouse. That's great. I'm super impressed. Okay, here we go. So just before I take them off again, I'm pleased with the sweep of the wiper blades now. So I've marked it with a little bit of white. So when I put it back on again, I shall make sure they've lined up. So the sweep now is, for as far as I'm concerned, is perfect. So we'll take it off, put the covers on, and then reconnect. That's one side done. Other side. Pushes on all the way around. Tuck it under there, like so. There we push it on. That's the trim done. Okay. Now just put the wiper blades back on now. And this one's on a squared off shaft, so it doesn't matter how that goes on. Put that one on first. Like that. Then the other one, line it up with the dots. That's the one done. And that's the other one done. Nice and tight. There you go, and that's the alignment I've got. So, we'll try it once more. And stop position. Try now. And they stop perfect. I think we've done it. So we'll put the caps on. We'll close the bonnet properly, give it a squirt, and try it again. Now, before you slam the bonnet down, you have to release the catch again, which is under here. So we can then slam the bonnet down. Make sure there's no tools left behind. I'm sure there isn't. Slam the boot down, the bonnet. Try it again. Get a jet. Fast speed. I think that's perfect actually now. So we've done it. It's done, but I'm not 100% sure that arm should be a bit further over. I think it should be there, and that one should be about there. I'm going to adjust some on the spline a little bit more, and then we're going to try it again. Here we go then, last time. There we go. Oops, start the engine down, start it for. And wipers, and there we go. That's better, that's coming further across now. And lovely and quiet. Everything works perfect. Just moved over just a little bit of a spline, one segment to do it. Washer on. Look inside, and that's better, isn't it? It's going right to the edge now. So there we go, all done. Let's part those. And they're parked nice and neat out of the way. Nice and neat. Okay, that's it. So let's just recap. So okay, just to recap. This is the faulty one. The gears inside are making a whirring noise. The bearing had gone or something, or the plastic gearing, whatever it is. So they wanted, second hand, they wanted £200 to £220 for the motor and the linkage. We didn't need the linkage was fine. So I didn't really want to pay 220 odd quid for the whole system. So I searched, couldn't get the part numbers to match, so I seen an A series one, which seemed very, very similar. The photos seemed very similar in the overall size and everything else. So I bought it, 15 quid. It cost me 15 quid, including delivery off eBay. Obviously a used one. It looked the same, took it off, everything fitted. I did notice that the arm was slightly different size, but it hasn't made any difference at all. Everything was perfect. It's the same unit, really. Different part number, slightly smaller arm, but it works perfect. And it saved me 185 quid at least to fix it. So there you go then. If you've got a 246 B200 model or thereabouts with a faulty wiper motor, get one of the A series, just change the linkage around onto it. It's a pretty simple job. Stick it on, Bob's your uncle. There you go.